Remembrance of the Daleks was created to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Doctor Who, but it feels like the start of a whole new era. The Doctor is now a mysterious figure brimming with secrets, his companion a streetwise girl who can take care of herself, and the Daleks are more dangerous than ever. At the time, it was the best the show had been in many years, and watching it today, it still holds up. The Doctor takes Ace back to Shoreditch in 1963, shortly after he originally left with Susan, Ian and Barbara. There are no direct references to them, which is a bit of a missed opportunity. If they'd done this kind of story in the new series, there would surely have been missing persons posters, or friends or family members looking out for them. But no matter, it's probably simpler this way. We still get to see Coal Hill School for the first time since An Unearthly Child, and Potter's Lane Junkyard for the first time since Attack of the Cybermen, where it looks completely different. This is possibly the first example of the Doctor making long-term plans. Up to now, in every story, he's merely been reacting to events as they happened. But here we see him executing a plot that's been brewing since before he left 1963 the first time. Of course, he didn't know about the Daleks back then, but maybe he figured out the details along the way. Before he left Gallifrey, he stole the Hand of Omega, a Death Star level device, and hid it in a coffin so he could pick it up later. Now he's back, and in the interim, 2 different sets of Daleks have infiltrated the area looking for the Hand, and they've already taken control of various human agents. So the Doctor spends the whole story tracking them down and manipulating them into destroying themselves. Sylvester McCoy's performance as the Doctor has noticeably improved between seasons. He's lost most of the old comic clowning around, replaced by someone who's much more subdued but forceful when he needs to be, fiercely intelligent but agonising over his decisions, as shown in the wonderful cafe scene where he bears his soul to Joseph Marcel, shortly before he became the butler in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. His relationship with Ace is showcased properly for the first time here, and they are an instantly likeable duo. He's clearly in charge, but he trusts her enough to go off and do her own thing. He doesn't entirely approve of her love of violence, but he's happy to use it when necessary. Ace is also much more toned down since her first appearance. Now she's a much more rounded character, still enjoys blowing things up and smashing Daleks with baseball bats, but she's still very young, developing a crush on Mike before having her heart broken. The supporting characters, who would later have their own Big Finish spin-off as countermeasures, seem deliberately designed to evoke past members of UNIT. Chunky Gilmore, with his moustache and tendency to go in all guns blazing, is an obvious predecessor of the Brigadier. Rachel is styled to look like Barbara, but has the same scientific background as Liz Shaw, while Alison could be like a 60s version of Joe Grant. There is also Mike, who turns out to be a traitor, like Mike Yates later would. For most of the story, he's a sympathetic character and builds a nice rapport with Ace, so the reveal that he is part of Ratcliffe's gang of fascists is quite a shock, although the sign on his mum's boarding house should have been a clue. The racism theme is subtle enough that it probably went over my head on first viewing, but today it's clearly a main theme of the story, with the Daleks also fighting over the purity of their race, and it's sadly still relevant today. Once again, the Daleks are split into 2 groups. I'm not sure exactly how this follows on from the end of Revelation, when Davros was captured by the Imperial Daleks, and now he's somehow become their leader. It's probably meant to be a twist. On first viewing, you're meant to think that Davros is the leader of the rebels, but that turns out to be the little girl instead. This even comes as a surprise to Ratcliffe, even though he's been in the same room as the rebel leader many times, and it's just the little girl with the helmet on, so he really should have been paying more attention. Instead, the Emperor Dalek is actually Davros, and we get another great confrontation between Davros and the Doctor. Sadly, it's only over screens, where the Doctor has a great time mocking Davros' megalomania and goading him into using the Hand of Omega, which cleverly all turns out to be part of his plan. The Daleks haven't been particularly impressive on their last few outings, but here they're back in force, looking better than ever. There's white, grey and black Daleks, a special weapons Dalek with a really big gun, and we even see one levitate, possibly for the first time, although it may have happened in an earlier story when nobody was paying attention. The action scenes are much more impressive than in recent years, with lots of explosions and Dalek blasts, plus an actual physical spaceship taking off and landing. It feels like a throwback to the Pertwee years. With all the stunts and action scenes, there's enough there for even casual viewers to be thoroughly entertained. The DVD copy I own is the original release, with sadly very few special features. There is a special edition with lots of extras, but somehow I never quite got round to buying that one. At this point, I may as well wait and just get the Season 25 Blu-ray, which I'll probably be getting once the standard edition comes out. As it is, there are 10 minutes of deleted scenes, all of which are definitely worth watching. Alison and Rachel discuss the alien nature of the Doctor. There's an extended version of the cafe scene, with a jump scare as the little girl suddenly shows up outside the window. And the infamous line where the Doctor says, "Oh, Davros, I am far more than just another Time Lord," which really should have been included in the broadcast version. In fact, they all should have been. I guess in the extended version on the Blu-ray, they've probably all been cut back in, but I'll have to wait to find out about that. Overall, it's a huge leap in quality from the last series, and probably one of the best Doctor Who stories in many years. I'll give it 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. If you want to support this channel, I now have a Patreon, where I am reviewing Doctor Who audio starring Sylvester McCoy, as well as new episodes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And the first episode of each series is free for everyone to read. Next week on here, I'll be reviewing The Happiness Patrol. I wasn't a fan of it first time round, with the Candyman being rather childish, but we'll see how I feel now. See you next time.